Hello, everybody. I'm BMillzebub, and welcome to my channel. Kind of stepping away from my usual sort of content today, talking about something actually quite enjoyable. So I listen to some punk. I'm not that big into punk culture. I'm more of a metalhead personally, but I've got a pretty old friend from college who is all about the punk music and actually has set up a record company as well as a festival happening at Wine City Brewing Company. I want to say in Cincinnati, just outside, I think in Fairfield. So, without any further ado, my friend Brandon, how's it going, man?
Hey, buddy. It's a long time no see. Uh, Appreciate you having me on here, though.
No, yeah, definitely. So, I kind of want to talk about your. It's a record label, right? Punkerton.
Yeah, so it's Punkerton Records. It's sort of it's a little bit of everything, though. So it's a record label. It's a promotion company. It's a we do merchandising, publicist type work, a little bit of everything. So.
All right, all right. I mean, this is a thing you wanted to do for a long time. What finally gave you the boot in the ass to start it?
Well, so I actually had it when I was a kid. So when I was like 16 or 17, I started in my hometown down in Texas, and it sort of lasted for a couple of years, and then I mean, what do you know at 16 and 17 years old, of course. Um, and so I stopped it, and life and all that, and um, yeah, did the military thing, did the college thing, and got all that out of the way. And then I got divorced, and that was sort of pushing me towards music again. And then the pandemic happened, and it was in the middle of the pandemic. I was bored out of my mind, and like most people, and a buddy approached me and was like, "Hey, this band from high school, we're getting it back together. Would you like to release this, you know, this record for us?" And I was like, "Man, that sounds like an awesome idea, but no." Um, and then literally the same day, another band approached me and was like, "Hey, we've been sitting on this album for a couple of years. We never released it. Did you want to release it?" And I was like, "All right, well, there's my sign. There's only so much, push I'm gonna need to continue." And then yeah, so that's where it started, I guess. Sort of the brainchild of it started in September of 2020, so like right in the heart of the pandemic. But yeah, so that's where I'm at now.
All right. So you're you're doing a bunch of shows leading up to the actual festival. I get the feeling those have kind of come to an end because the festival's this weekend, right?
Yeah. So July of last year, June of last year is when all the venues started really opening back up, where people could actually meet in mass, instead of maybe sitting at tables, or whatever. Um, and So when that started opening back up, I wanted to throw shows again. So I mean, I haven't thrown a ton in the last year, maybe averaging about one a month, probably. Um, Maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know. After a certain point, you sort of lose count. But yeah, I guess it was December of 2021. I was sort of sitting around, talking about different festivals, and decided that we might try to do one ourselves. And um, there's this woman at Swan City Brewing, Samantha. She's sort of their operations manager, I guess you would call her. I mean, I don't want to butcher her title, but I had ran it by her. I was like, "Hey, I had a few shows that were going to be out there anyways, a couple of shows, just regular shows." And they had this really nice brewery. I don't know how many different flavors of beer. I think it's like 20, but don't quote me on that. um but they've got this really big open area outside, and it was the perfect location. So I had kicked it around with her, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think? What do you think about, like, collaboration, and I bring you a crowd, and you sell them alcohol. And it's venues are hard sometimes when you're brand new, so you sort of take what you can get. But in the case of Swine City, I just lucked out because they are a really nice establishment. They cater to punk rock. I mean, they've got punk rock posters on the wall and stuff like that. And then it's strategically located between Cincinnati and Dayton, which are both really big, Midwestern hubs for music. And they're like basically right between it. And then we're only about an hour and a half from Columbus, which is, of course, sort of where I'm out of. So yeah, that's sort of how that came to be. Um, you know, it's a lot different taking on a big festival than it is a smaller show. Obviously more bands, but just the logistics of it is exponentially bigger. So I've got quite a few more people helping me this time around than I do with a normal show. So
All right. So of the bands that you're going to be having, actually, I was going to ask you which one's your favorite, but that's probably just
it's
going to right.
no, it's 100% okay to ask that question, actually. So I would say the band that I'm looking forward to seeing the most is a band called hashtag Lame Ass Dads. They're out of Toledo, and I'm actually let me tilt my camera. I'm actually wearing their shirt. They're hilarious. Let me see. Yeah. Anyways, so they're out of Toledo, and the reason I'm going to see them, I've seen a lot of these other bands already, and that's hence why I wanted them on. But I haven't seen Lame Ass Dads yet. However, so yeah, they're out of Toledo, and I saw a sponsored ad on Facebook several months ago, and of this song called Nowhere, Ohio. It's like this sort of pop-ish punk, like mid-90s pop punk sounding song called Nowhere, Ohio. And it was a huge inspiration for Hell is Ohio. Like, it literally, if we have an anthem, it is this song. And I contacted them, and they were brand new. They had like literally like two likes on their Facebook page when I first saw them. And I literally invited everybody I knew to like their page. I was like, you've got to check this song out. You got to check these guys out. And so I contacted them to help me with some charity compilations that I released, because that's what Hell is Ohio was for, is sort of the charity wing of Punkerton Records. And I'm sure you're familiar with the Hell is Real sign that goes from Cincinnati to from Columbus to Cincinnati. For those who are not from Ohio, our interstate that connects Columbus to Cincinnati is a big Christian sign that says "Hell is real," and it's modeled after that. So, anyways, yeah. So, Lame Ass Dads is who I want to see the most. As far as having an actual favorite, all these bands I feel bring something, considerable to it. It's all different kinds of punk rock too. And not even that, we have a nerdcore hip hop artist who goes by Huge. He's playing at on Saturday as well. But it goes from pop punk to street punk to cow punk. Like a country thing. We got an acoustic band. We've got like really hard rock and roll type stuff. I guess, but I guess I don't want to say. I have to. Okay, I have to say my favorite then. My favorite would be the Reedy Weeps, only because they're on my label. We actually had a show last night with the Reedy Weeps, and they did a live recording, and also parts to like a music video that they're doing, and they killed it. I mean, I've seen these guys probably 15, 20 times, and they get better every time. But like I said, every band has their own thing. I wouldn't want to. But who I'm looking forward to the most, obviously, is Lame Ass Dads on that Saturday, and I guess on Friday probably Viceroy Kings. They're out of Dayton. Gigi, this guy Gigi, he's the king of punk rock in Dayton. probably shares Hell is Ohio more than I do. I want to see his band. They just got signed to a record label called Coffin Curse Records. I believe if I said the wrong label, I'm gonna feel like an idiot. But he's been so supportive that I've really wanted to I wanted to check him out, I guess. And I've seen everyone else, except for there's a band called Extra Arms. They're from Michigan. And they were sort of I threw them on because our headliner, 500 Miles to Memphis, was like, "Hey, do you mind if our friends play?" But I've seen 500 Miles to Memphis is a really good band. I love them. They're headlining. Ryan helped me set up a lot of the stuff from that band. He's a really good guy. I'm really good friends with a band called Some Kind of Nightmare. They're from Wilmington, Ohio. I mean, they're from San Diego now, but originally, from Wilmington, which is a little bit west of where we're at right now. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's so many good bands that I wish I could give a shout to all of them, but yeah, so that I probably answered that way too long of an answer, but
it's all right, bud. So yeah, so you mentioned having some troubles before we went on. Like what's it even like trying to set up a festival like this?
Yeah. So logistics in doing this is somewhat daunting when you've never done it before, because there's so many things compared to a regular show that you just don't anticipate. Um, I'll give you the biggest example. That's just the most recent, I guess. I was talking to my buddy Ryan, who's huge. He was asking us. He said, "Hey, it's going to be 90 degrees on Saturday. What's the water situation looking like?" And I was like, "Oh crap! I forgot to sort of establish how we were going to do that, because obviously bands have to have water. They're going to die on stage. And so I, had to quickly, get that all together. I mean, I know the venue was going to have water and stuff, but it's not the venue's job to take care of the bands. That's my job as the promoter. So I went out and bought 4 of those big giant water cooler, like the Gatorade cooler things, and then 2 giant tubs where I can fill with ice and bottled water. So, I'm not killing these artists who are playing and being out in the heat all day. And that is normally something a lot of the venues take care of when it's a smaller show, because most venues have free water and stuff like that. Um, but it's also not usually 90 degrees, and there's usually not 15 bands that and so the venue wouldn't normally be the ones worrying about that, I guess, on a festival. And so I'm glad he pointed that out. I mean, it would have been an easy last minute fix. I could have just ran to like a local supermarket and bought 10 cases of water, but at least this way I'll be prepared and not scrambling day of. Other than that, I think the biggest thing is a few drops, a few bands. I don't want to throw any bands, under the bus or anything, or seem like I'm insulting any of the bands. Like, there's people have reasons that they have to drop, and it's pretty warranted, especially now with COVID. I mean, no one's dropped because of COVID, but if between now and Friday or Saturday a band drops because of COVID, I think everybody at this point sort of is very understandable about that. But yeah, so we had originally we had to drop a band, and I know that they were upset about it, and I've apologized to them. We just felt like it was the best interest of the festival to drop them, and then of course we replaced them with some friends that we've worked with in the past, and then recently we had 2 other bands have to drop for logistical reasons, and then the last band that we had to drop for with a scheduling issue, and so hopefully next year's festival we can have whoever was unable to do it. Hopefully we can have them. And on that same note, another thing that I didn't anticipate and I probably should have is, so I was talking about our charity. We do charity compilation albums or whatever. I had over 70 something bands over the course of 3 different records that were on, and some of them sort of took offense that they weren't invited to play the festival. And, I had to explain to them that, like, it wasn't personal. It's just logistic reasons and money making reasons. I mean, like, no offense to some of the bands, but if you've got 150 followers on Facebook and you draw like 10 people in your hometown, sending you 2 hours away to Cincinnati, it just didn't make sense for us. From a financial standpoint, if we had more time, I mean, a lot of these bands, let's be honest, they would just love to play a festival. They don't even care about the pay, but we are limited on time. We only have one stage and we only have 2 days. So, I felt like, I sat with Samantha from Swine City and I said, hey, who off of my compilations would you like to see? And so she gave me a list of, 3 or 4 that we wanted. And then I did the same thing of bands that were on the compilation that I absolutely wanted. And then of course we had a few, curveballs and last minute additions. And then of course priority for me is bands on my label. And people can walk around that issue as much as they want, but at the end of the day, it is still my festival, I guess. And I feel that bands that support me 100% of the time and that I work with frequently clearly should get some priority. Which there's only 3 bands or 4 bands on this that are closely related to my label. I'll go ahead and point them out for those purposes. The Reedy Weeps, they're signed and we're working on a lot of projects. Yard Sign, he's doing an acoustic set. We've released some of his music. The Plan Bs, they're from Columbus. We released one of their singles. And then Prime Directive, they're signed to the label. We're going to release an album later on. They just released a new album, but it wasn't through us. And so it was an independent release, but we're gonna work together at the end of the year. So like clearly I've got to throw them on. So I felt like we just did it in as fair and economically feasible way as possible, if that makes sense. So yeah, those are, I guess, the biggest issues that I've had. Working with the venue has been great because they're new to this too, so we're learning together. And so, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some day of hiccups. Last minute. I mean, today, even like me and Samantha, we're talking, last minute small details that we don't want to miss, I guess. So,
yeah, just picking up the last little bits. I get it. So you brought up COVID. I'm guessing that between your festival and the brewery, there's something set up to help alleviate any kind of transmission. Like, do people need to bring their vax cards or?
So yeah, so with this, there's no vaccination requirement. However, it is outside, and it's very spread out. So there are picnic tables. I'm just going to throw a number out there. I think 30 or something. Who knows? I don't know the exact. I'm just guessing from what I saw. They can all be spread out. We're going to have we're gonna ask people to have common sense. Like I've said this to a lot of people. If you're not feeling very good that day, please don't come out. But as far as like like me personally, I'm vaccinated. I've got my booster, and I know a lot of the bands. I know all the bands for the most part do, at least all the ones I know personally. Because in this industry, everybody gets vaccinated because COVID almost killed the industry. It's just the sad truth of it. I know a lot of bands were hesitant at first until they weren't able to play shows. Because June of last year, all the way up until like this last December, you couldn't play a show in Columbus without being vaccinated. You couldn't go to a show without being vaccinated. So I think we're a little bit post that. Now, don't get me wrong, we're very much still in the ability for COVID to come back, and but I just think that we've sort of looked at it from I think from the perspective that we're looking at it, I think we'll be okay. Obviously, you can never be 100% sure. So, I'm asking that if anybody's feeling sick or, anything like that, please get tested before you come. And then, obviously, if you're feeling bad enough, just stay home and we'll have one for you next year. Because I really hate, and the bands are the same way. The bands don't want to get sick. They don't want to miss shows. I mean, we still have that happening a lot here in Columbus, where bands just have to drop last minute. And you know, yeah. I mean, I'm in no way a medical expert, so follow CDC guidelines. It's the best I can, best I can do there.
Well, I mean, follow CDC guidelines is usually a pretty solid plan. Yeah, unfortunately, there are probably going to be some people that screw it up for everybody, but so
Yeah, fair. That's very fair. So
are you thinking about making Hello's Ohio annual festival?
yeah. So that is the ultimate goal. It has to be successful. It has to be. I have to sell enough tickets this time around for me to do it, because this is such a make it or break it moment for the label. I'm not going to say how much I've spent on this, but I've spent quite a bit of my own personal money. The label's fronting some of it, but it's mostly coming out of my pocket. And sound alone is half of the cost for this. We have a professional coming in with his his own equipment, his own PA, and running sound for 2 days. And then of course we got to pay the bands. The bigger bands get guarantees. The smaller bands were, excuse me, wow, promised gas money. And that's no small feat either, because gas is $5.15 a gallon right now. So bands coming from Toledo and Cleveland obviously are going to get paid a little bit more than bands driving from Dayton or Cincy, but we had to do it that way this year just because we have no idea what to expect. And the venue is taking care of their part, and then I'm taking care of my part. So they're going to be fine. They're going to sell a ton of beer. Even on a hot day, everybody's going to want a nice cold beer. Me personally, I don't drink beer, so I'm just going to be pounding water all day because I'm going to be working. But yeah, like, I hope to do it next year. Will we do it at Swan City? I don't know. Will we do it closer to Columbus? I will tell you, the logistics of doing a show 2.5 hours, almost, well, about 2 hours away from where I live, is very difficult. So hopefully, it goes smooth and we make a ton of money and everybody gets paid. Cause like, that's what I told the bands too, is like, if nobody shows up, which they will, but I was like, if nobody shows up, you're still going to get this small guarantee. It's not a lot. But people who've been playing music for a while totally understand. But if it does really well, then obviously I'm the kind of promoter that, I'm going to pay them. I'm going to pay them significantly more if 200 people show up versus 500 people show up, they're going to make a lot more money. Because that first 200 people showing up, we need 100 people to show up to pay for sound or whatever. I'm just throwing a number out there, but because sound is the most expensive part about this whole process. I love to do, I'm in the process of it, which this is sort of an exclusive with you. We're planning something big for next year. A couple of projects actually. and that's going to be in Columbus. So we may do a whole separate festival in Columbus and just keep doing Swine City and Hell's Ohio Fest in Swine City. You know, we don't know. It really, like I said, it's up in the air, and it depends on how many people show up. That's one of the main reasons. If you look at any of my flyers, we've got 15, 16 sponsors. We decided to take an approach to where if you're a small business owner and you want free cheap advertising, sponsor Hell's Ohio Fest. We made it as cheap as you could possibly make it. I mean, a lot of festivals, you know, they'll charge between $500 and $5,000 to sponsor, and you know, we made it. It was $100. You know, you get your logo on things, and we'll talk about you every time we, you know, do media push or anything like that. And you know, we've got some really good sponsors. And you know, we've got bigger companies, and we've got small, you know, small businesses, which I feel is really great. Like that's sort of why I got into punk rock anyways. It's all about being inclusive, you know. And like there's a problem sometimes with music and people gatekeeping and trying to keep other people's out of it. But like, for instance, one of the sponsors is Morbid and Miserable Records, and it's a record label, and I wanted them on board because I feel like there's enough piece of the pie for everybody. And you know, hopefully, and they're going to come out and they're going to sell merch for their record label, and it has nothing to do with Punkerton Records. And you know, that's great, and it's a lot of fun. And another thing, Stupid Rad Merch Company, they're big. They have a lot of bands that do merchandising through them. And you know, personally, you know, I do my own in-house merchandising, but they do a lot of really cool stuff for a really affordable price. And you know, they know all these really cool bands, and they're just super, super awesome people. And of course I wanted them there. You know, if I can make friends with new people and network with other people and just get the word out. And yeah, so I mean, you know, I don't want to, I mean, I guess I could go through all the sponsors, but if you know, if you get a chance, go to the website, or go to any of our social media, and you can see all these sponsors. If you go to the website, it clicks you directly to, you know, whatever their website or social media, whatever it is they wanted it to click to. But I guess the main thing for this is, so it's for Punk Rock Saves Lives. This entire festival is to benefit Punk Rock Saves Lives. It's a nonprofit organization that sort of promotes mental health, and they also do bone marrow drives, stuff like that. And I met them at a festival last year, actually, called Camp Pennsylvania, that my friends Terry and Laura put together. And it was like a super cool festival. And I got a chance to you know, start talking to the people at Punk Rock Saves Lives. And you know, it's like, when I want to do my festival, I'd love for you guys to come out. And they were 100% on board. It was super awesome. And you know, they're friends with, you know, a lot of these people who are very sort of influential in the scene. And the fact that they were cool to come to my like no name festival, like that meant everything to me. And yeah, you know, if you get a chance, go to Punk Rock Saves Lives, check out their social media, their website. It's really cool what they do. They'll team up with a band who's on tour. For instance, last year they did a tour with the band Anti-Flag, and so I volunteered to help them at one of their events, and they'll sign up volunteers or whatever. And but yeah, they'll go on tour with the band, and then they'll set up their booth at every show, and you know, get their message out, you know, for all the things that they do. So yeah, this whole thing is sort of just to benefit them. So yeah, if you're in Ohio, it's definitely the number one punk rock festival in Ohio, I feel. So
all right, well, let's talk merch a little bit, man. So let me just share my screen here.
oh, if you're going to my website, I haven't updated it. I'm gonna feel so dumb. No.
All right. So, Hell is Ohio Fest 22. Let's see.
Oh,
Swine
okay.
City, 14 Industry Drive, Fairfield, Ohio. Mark that on your Google Maps. So, Friday, you've got 500 miles to Memphis, Some Kind of Nightmare, Viceroy
That's
Kings.
Extra Arms, Coxey's Army, and the Reedy Weeps are playing an indoor set. I do want to say that this wasn't completely updated. So on the Saturday, the band DOS had to pull for timing reasons, so they are being replaced by a band or an act called the Obnoxious Boot. So yeah, but you can finish that. I just wanted to point that out before.
All right. Let's see. So,
Bundy and the
Bundy and the Spins,
Spins.
Trash Night, Tiger Sex, Prime Directive. Why is it just me or does Tiger Sex sound like the name of a band? If anyone's watched um, Parks and Rec, that sounds like a band name Andy would come up with. Uh,
Cotter.
Cotter, Huge, Laymass Dads, Plan Bs, the Plaid Disasters, DOS, as you said, has been pulled. Yard Sign, and
And
I can't quite read that last one.
yeah, Sepia Heyday.
Okay.
They're sort of a staple to Fairfield, and I had them on a show back in, I believe, March. I don't know the exact date. Actually, yes, I do. It's right here behind me. Uh, yeah, I had them the 3rd of March. Oops, I just hit my head on my camera or my microphone in front of the camera. But anyways, they put on such a good show, and they were a last minute addition. And yeah, Roy and everyone in that band, thank you for coming on last minute. So
Mhm. Yeah, and you got 4.5 days till the event begins. That's gotta feel stressful. um, but here's part that I really wanted to get to. The Friday admission is $15 still. Saturday is 20, and the weekend pass is $30. That's pretty fairly priced, honestly. That's
yeah, and on top of that, right? So if each band was given an access code that they could give to their fans to get $5 off. And for those bands that were added last minute, if any of their fans wanted to, they could just type in Punkerton as their access code, and it would take $5 off their order. And so you could get the weekend pass for $25. And I felt like, I mean, gas is really expensive right now. And if I can save someone even $5 just to come, like it's worth it to me, because I'm not trying to get rich off this thing. I'm okay with breaking even as long as everybody has fun, you know?
yeah. Let's see what else. Punkerton Records, why not? Let's
Oh
you
yeah, this
got a
is the
little
bad part. So those first two flyers, I forgot to update. So yeah, my bad.
you got the Hell is Ohio volumes 1 through 3, $10 each. Some different bands here. Hey, let's check out the merch now. Apparel, why not? Who doesn't like a little bit of apparel, especially for supporting local music? And this one I like. I like this shirt. Buy the merch first, then the beer.
Yep, that is there's literally like one of those left. So
Oh damn. Uh, what size?
yeah,
Because I might have to get on it.
click on it. Let me see.
Uh, oh, there's no
I
2XL.
think that 3X is actually sold and didn't update. So somebody's going to order that. I need to go ahead and take that down. In fact, I'm going to do that as soon as you get off here, because I know that sold at a show and it must not have updated. So I'm glad that you're doing this.
And then you got the Punkerton label right there. It's pretty sweet looking. And Punk Rock Saves Lives. So that's advertisements. Yeah, positivity, unity, nurture, kindness. Yep. Saving lives. Yeah, this seems like a pretty cool thing you got going here, man. I'm hoping to be able to come out Saturday still. I definitely won't be able to get the whole weekend, but yeah, I'd like to
Yeah,
be out
man. If you
Saturday.
can come out Saturday, that'd be great, dude. Like, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a positive experience for everyone, and it's gonna be hot, so bring sunscreen. So, yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything you wanted to say about the festival?
I just, I this is just me, and this is how I am. I don't know how this is gonna go. I think it's gonna be really great. I appreciate everybody's support, everybody who's helped with it. And we've got a lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback so far. With everybody that's on board. So I think it'll be good. And if you come, great. If you can't make it, I totally understand. I mean, gas is expensive, and everybody's struggling right now. But if you want to get away and drink beer for cheap and listen to music for, I mean, you really can't beat it. I mean, there's 12 bands that first or that second day, and 12 bands for $20. You literally cannot beat that. You're not going to beat that anywhere. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm gonna put Swine City Brewing's link in the comments section here. That
Sweet.
way, people can get a look at the beer, see what there is that they'd like. Not that, I mean, you said there's like 20 some possibly different beers. There's got to be something for everybody. Just like musically, there's going to be something for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you like anything, I mean, there's bands in there that you don't actually have to like punk rock that you're gonna that you would like. You know what I mean? If you like metal, there's a few bands that I know that you'll like. If you like acoustic stuff, there's people that you will like. If you like pop punk and you don't like the crazy stuff, then it's there. And if you're into random horror sci-fi punk rock, then you're good. The Friday has a lot of more, it's like pop punk and like country influence punk. And then and that was sort of done purposeful. And it's sort of like a different, but one band I do need to mention, so Cotter, they're from Columbus, and they are a pop punk band, and they were voted like the number 3 band in all of Columbus, and not just punk rock, right? Like Superstars, I think it was like 21 Pilots or something, were voted like number 1. They were voted number 3. So like they're sort of a big deal. And these guys are going to be a household name within the next few years. And they're going to be playing big festivals, not this. And if you want to come out, that's the one you need to go to. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah. Well, hell. Here, put those down. Hang on, my dog's being an idiot.
It happens.
Yeah, got a husky puppy. Handsome boy.
He thinks he's handsome.
He knows.
No, he thinks.
But yeah, man. So, hi. Yeah, I'm happy to have had you on, man. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, bring some more people that otherwise may not have come.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah. And again, I'll be putting the Punk Rock Save Lives and Swine City, as well as the Punkerton website links in the description. That way everyone can go get merch and tickets. Now, when
Sweet.
people come up to get into the actual concert, I'm assuming it's going to be like roped off and there's going to be like a QC code or something on your
You would
email?
you would assume wrong. No, we've got there's going to be 2 entrances. There's going to be a whole lot of I mean, there's going to be a whole lot, like a lot of it is marked off, but if somebody's really trying to like chip us, they could probably get away with it. There's going to be a master list, and you're going to come up with your little email and say, "Hey, I'm on this list," and we're going to mark you off. And if someone wants to pay with a card, they're going to be able to do that. They'll just have to walk up to the bartender and get it up there, because we're not going to have a point of sale with the door guy. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna get a little wristband, and we'll know,
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the way that this is set up is just sort of how we have to do it. And again, there are a lot of ideas and a lot of things that we didn't necessarily think of. It's a learning curve, it really is. And we're making the most of it. But yeah, no, it'll be good.
All right. I should have thought to ask this earlier. Is there like a security situation kind of thing going on there? Because I mean, it's loud music, beer, and some people get stupid after a few drinks.
Yeah, so within this scene, everybody polices themselves up pretty well anyway. The venue does do a lot of bigger things, bigger events, and so they have people on that'll be sort of policing everything up too. Excuse me, all the bands here like are professional. I've worked with 90% of them, and so they sort of know how to handle these situations too. So I think we can police ourselves, but there are also going to be people who are, walking around sort of ensuring that nothing crazy happens and that everybody is having a good time. So,
all right, that's good to know. Before I cut you loose, could you show me that big ass Punkerton Records?
Oh yeah,
thing you got? It's mostly for the audience, but still.
All right, there we go. So it says support local music at the top. Sorry, my camera's only going so. Okay, and then it has punkertonrecords.com on the bottom of it. But yeah, so there's that.
Didn't go too deep into your merch section on the website. Is that a thing people can buy, or is that just
that is just sort of our exclusive thing. Like I'm going to pull that off the wall when we go to the festival. I can't show you right now, but I do have like an 8-foot banner that says Hell is Ohio. And if you go on our social media, there's actually a picture of it on our Instagram for a show that we did. So that was kind of cool. And one of our sponsors is Shamrock Printing. They're actually in Newark, Ohio. And they hooked us up. I mean, like, by hooked us up, like we paid for it, but they hooked us up with a really nice banner and didn't charge us an arm and a leg for it. So, yeah, they sort of sponsored it. And yeah, it's been really helpful to have cool stuff like that, because I never in a million years thought that this whole thing would come to pass. And so, yeah, this has been a really fun adventure and a really good opportunity. And the real work hasn't even begun. That goes Friday and Saturday. So I'm super nervous, but I think it'll be fun.
I hope it goes really well for you, man. It'd be pretty awesome if this got to be a annual thing for you.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'd be great. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on. So yeah, got a kitten acting up now. Too many animals. So yeah, definitely. If you live anywhere near Fairfield, definitely do try to go. It should be a great time. Maybe introduce yourself to a new favorite band. Who knows? But yeah, Brandon, I'll let you have the last word, and I'll cut it off, man.
So everybody who watched this whole thing through, I appreciate it. I would love if you would at least check out the website, www.hellisohio.com. see if that's something that you'd be interested in going to. I promise, if you're even remotely a fan of any of the music, or if you just like drinking beer, it's a great venue, great bands, and yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.